Good evening. The First Channel is broadcasting Euroformula series. Today we will talk about programs of European Union, particularly education programs that benefit students and universities. The State Engineering University of Armenia has already implemented 10 programs. My first question would relate to the efficiency of these programs and what changes after their implementation. Tempus education programs are mainly aimed at educational reforms and have developed along two main directions. From 1995, first Tempus programs got implemented. One subset could be titled as changing the governance mechanisms of universities, the other dealing with courses of study. Great, so you have already implemented 10 programs. What has changed? What's not possible up until now, and how Tempus influenced this change? First of all, the first strategic paper of the university was developed. It is going to end this year and was intended for the years of 2006 and 2010. It became possible through Tempus program. Second, clear and fixed set of problems, issues, also legal issues have been formulated that deal with the transition to the education through ECTS. For instance, what would you say is your main problem at the moment? When dealing with the implementation issues of ECTS, one can say that formally they are in place and it is also the requirement of our legislation, but we still face a multitude of problems, starting from the adoption of certain legal acts which are not clearly formulated. Could one say that thanks to Tempus now you have your needs and problems? Yes, we have already implemented that program, which was a consortium between our university and Yerevan State, and another one that was recently concluded, again with Yerevan State, both within the framework of Tempus programs. These, again, I think were very effective and useful as they were dealing with the introduction of internal quality assurance systems, which is one of the requirements of Bologna process and the culture of which we yet expect to witness in Armenia. Nevertheless, it is very important. What level of understanding and knowledge should the student have in order to be able to study in Europe? Here are the requirements. They choose people with sound knowledge of English, also pay attention to the individual qualities of the student, which is to what extent that person is ready to study in Europe. Also, the academic records where the person has to have high achievement levels in order to participate in these programs. Besides, students from socially vulnerable backgrounds are prioritized. And the most important question, what is the difference between the European education and our educational processes? Whatever I have noticed in European institutions could be called student-centered approach, which is not the case for Armenian universities. In our country, the center of attention is more the teacher. Besides, they cover a lot of practical ground, whereas in Armenia, the real-life cases are scarce. These have been the two main differences that I noticed while studying there. What does mobility mean? If anyone is interested, there are a lot of materials about mobility on the internet. It basically encourages the flexibility and mobility of academic community, which could be both the students, professors, researchers aiming to participate in trainings, research, or lecturing. Or in the case of students, they could continue their studies at bachelor's and master's levels, as well as for short study visits. This is what is meant by mobility as such. Universities from the very beginning, within the first phase, there were in total 3 phases, create certain consortia that include institutions from both EU member states and other countries, prepare courses of study for master's and PhD levels. Here, geography is not limited, and if approved, the program gets implemented. Is it a course of study or research? One important thing that I want to add, and then I will come to the question. These programs are open to all. During these 10 months, you have not only received a European education, but have also felt the European ambience, educational environment. You have come across the European way of thinking and values. To what extent that helped you in your career development? First of all, let me state that before leaving for Greece, I have never thought of tourism and have never envisaged myself in that sphere, whereas while there, I started studying the subject. I realized that it is there that I see my future and that is how I continued my work. So basically, the study abroad deeply influenced me, and that happened thanks to Erasmus Mundus. At the personal level, it has been a big life experience, the immersion into European cultures, which in itself is a big plus for my future career and relations. It is clear. Please tell me to what extent Tempus and Erasmus Mundus bring us closer to European criteria when repetitive professionals, not only for the local but also for the global market. I was observing Shoshanik and Alex, and it was clear that they are well versed in English, which leads me to believe that at some point in their life they have continued their studies abroad. In any case, our youth, young students and researchers, also PhD students, will have to participate. And that is my advice in various European programs. It is the only way to reach a certain level and grasp the European values, as well as put them to use, be it in education or management. Does not matter. This is my wish. These communications, even with European partners, play an important role in integrating our educational system with the European area. You are watching Euroformula. Thank you for your attention and hoping to see you once again.